Good morning, guys. Today I am going to fix another GPU. This one. Many GPUs are in queue, but today I will try to fix this GPU. It is GeForce RTX. G4 RTX 380 Trinity and OC 10 GB. 10 GB. Okay. So let's check it. I need two 8-pin connectors here. Yes. One is here. And the second is also here with me. Yes. And here you can see two of my LCDs. First I will connect HDMI cord in this GPU. Okay. I have connected a VGA cable here with the CPU, my PC with my PC, and a HDMI cable with this GPU card. And here I have two of my LCD. One is connected with this VGA cable and the other is with HDMI cable. So let's start. I have to turn my PC on. Yes. And if the picture shows on the left side of my screen, then it means that it is on VGA. So the right side LCD has no display. It means that this card is not detectable in the CPU, so that the original display of my CPU is from this VGA port. So let's try to solve its issue. Hopefully we can solve it. I hope that you are with me. Let's start. And first I have to shut it down. Fans are running, and even the lights were glowing. But there is no output from the HDMI port or the HDMI display. Now my CPU is off. Okay. Take this card out. Detach the cables. Keep this CPU at one side and let's open it. I have to unscrew these four main screws that are for the fix of this GPU processor. And now what screws I have to remove from this GPU. Yes. What is this? I think one it is apart from the heatsink and fan assembly. How I should detach first this light connector, and these two jacks are for the fans. I must detach them. Yes. Okay, now the board is in front of me. I think I should furthermore disassemble it to take out the whole motherboard from this bone. Many screws. Any more screw? I think I have to unscrew these three screws too. Two more screws. Now everything is apart, and how can I remove this plate? Should be, I think, no more screw to unscrew. It should be a glue tape. Yes. And one more jack is here. For what? It is a light for this logo, I think so. We must detach it. Now this is the main plate or the motherboard of our GPU, and as I am observing it in my physical test, here I can see that one of the FET is not here. Maybe by default it is not here. So first of all I must wash it. So many dust. I have to blow it. So as usual I will check for this port connectivity with this GPU chip from the both side of this port. it is tape solution. Okay, one probe from the ground. I will connect it with any. Where can I find the ground? Yes, I can connect it here, and now I am testing this port connectivity with this CPU with my component tester. As you can see it on the screen, I will start from the first pin. These are normal because this is 5 volt, this is ground, this is 3.2 volts. Nothing I have found on this side of this port. Every connection is good. Now I will check for this side of this port. This is not connected. Okay. All the connections are fine, but I have to verify for this first connection. The lines are going into the PC, but it did not show any connectivity. Okay. And here I can see a lot of dust underneath this processor and in a whole area of this motherboard. So first of all I will try to wash from underneath this GPU chip. For this first of all I will remove this paste. I will use the same paste when this CPU will be fixed. For this, first of all, I will use WD-40 to remove any kind of dust, any kind of rust and even dust too. So I should apply WD-40. The WD-40 is a very good tool for my repairings. It helps me a lot in fixing many of the problems in electronics devices, because I live in Pakistan, and you know, here is a lot of dust and rust. And now here you can see this dust and rust particles emitting from underneath this GPU chip. Yes. Lot of dust. Now I have cleaned the whole card because there was a lot of dust and rust in it, and now I will check for the power supplies. The power supplies, this card contains many power supplies. One of the power supply is this. It consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 FETs and 9 coils and 9 filter capacitors. This whole power supply is designed for the GPU section of this APU. And here is another power supply. It consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 FETs and 6 coils. 7 coils, sorry. These are the 6 FETs, and they are driving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 coils. And the filter section is this. It consists of these capacitors. This power supply is for the CPU section of this APU. It is a 10 GB graphic card. So the APU consists of two different power supplies of its two different portions. So this is for the CPU and this is for the GPU. And here is another power supply. This power supplies, maybe it could be for the fan control circuit. And here is another power supply. It is also for the fan control. And these two power chokes are coupling power chokes, and these two chokes are coupling chokes for the 12-volt input to these FETs for the GPU power supply. And here you can see another power supply. This one is designed to give power to the buck controller chips. Here are two chips here, and the two chips are here. These buck controller chips are powered by this section, and this choke is driven by this buck controller chip. And these FETs are getting the oscillations from these buck controller chips. So guys, here is another power supply, and this power supply is getting source volts from this connector. This connector is from our PC slot, and it is a source of power for the internal RAM of this APU. So all the power supplies should be working fine. So here I will just check for the all power supplies, either they are working or not. If one of the power supply will not work properly, then it can also be in the same status that it is not detectable. So I will check for these. We'll see that how I configure the fault after verifying all these power supplies. So let's start. I will give the 12 volt power source on this GPU. Here are the two 8-pin connectors. One is here, the other one I will insert here, and I will put it into the slot. Here I need a oscilloscope, and hopefully you can see the oscilloscope too, and we need to connect the ground with this PC. Yes, and now I will check for the supplies. I'm going to turn the main power on, and I have to move my PC like this so that you can check the points where I will check the powers. These are the coils points, this one, this one, this one, and this one. This is the input point. Here on these points must be oscillations or clock. This and this is the output. Here also you can see that this is the one coil, this is the second coil, this is the third coil, and this is the input for this coil. At this point there must be a oscillation. Okay, let's start it. I have to turn it on the same way. Yeah, it is beeping. Now I will check here. Yes, the clock is available, and also here available. It is good, 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 good. And at the output point it is 1.2 volts. It's also fine. Some are with 0.9 volts or 0.8 volts, and this power supply is with 1.2 volts, and this power supply is 0.8 volts. Now we'll get to this side at the GPU section, or GPU section. This is the input clock. It is good, 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 good. All the oscillations are available, and now the output is 0.8 volts. Yes, choke for the fan control. It also have oscillation, and it is 1.2 volts. And here is the second coil, which is maybe on the back side. And here I should also check for the volts. It is 12 volt choke. Yes, 12 volts are there. And if I show you from this side, this one is the fan control, and it has no oscillation. And in the last, I will check for this choke. This is which is power source is our PC. It is not externally powered, but it takes power from our PC. And here I will check for the output volts. It is 1.8 volts for the RAMs of this APU, and this is the input oscillation. It is also in order. So guys, it seems that all the power supplies are fine, and here you can check on these two coils. These are for the 12 volt that are driven by these connectors. 12 volts are good, and on the second choke it is also available. 12 volts are. All the power supplies are working fine. So guys, in the beginning I missed one thing, and it was a parity check bit. Here it is. I checked for all these points, they were fine. It is the power from the slot, and this first pin, it is a parity check for a card detection in the CPU. It is missing, and when I find that it is not connected to anything, so I scratched here and found a misprint. This one you can see that if I keep one of my ground on this point and other on this, you can see it is not connected. But here I scratched this print, and when I connect here, sorry, I have to put it like this. Here it is. So I found a connection, missing connection in this area. Here it is connected, and here it is open. And if I show you closely, you can say that this print is broken underneath the paint. I have scratched this paint and found that it is open. So maybe this circuit yes, this circuit goes to this reset chip. If you can see that this circuit, if I connect it from this connected point, this circuit goes to this reset chip here. It is 3.4 volts input for this reset chip. It is a sort of reset for the CPU, and here it has VCC 1.8 volt, and the output it must be 1.8 volt, and this one is ground. I will show you connecting this to the ground. Yes, it is ground, and this 1 and 2, these two pins are 3.4 volts input from the slot. That is missing. As you can see that it is missed, and it has no connectivity here, but it has connectivity from here. Yes, so I will connect this misprint. I will give a jumper. I will put a jumper from this to this, then I will check this card again. Now you can see that I have made a jumper on this print, and if I wash it out, yes, now you can see it clearly. And the story behind this fault recognition was that this CPU reset did not have 3.4 volt input here, but it was getting 1.8 volts from this input, but there must be 3.4 volt on both of these pins, so that it can be give a output of proper 1.8 volt from here. So let's go test it again. Hopefully this card or this GPU must be detected on my PC. Let's check it. I have turned my PC power on, and now I will turn it on through the standby power on, and yes, I just has not the HDMI port here. I will restart it. No, still the same fault. still it has not. So now you must check for the volts. Here it should have 3.4 volt at the input. Yes, and on the second pin it has 3.2 volts, and the output it should have 1.8 volt. Yes, it is 1.8 volt. Now it must be detected. Now guys, I have fully assembled it. Maybe it was detecting for its fans or panel light or something else. So I have reassembled it. Means fix the motherboard with its fan and heatsink assembly, and all the connectors are intact, including this panel light, and the one light is at the back side of this card. It is a logo light, and two jacks of these three fans also intact now. So let's try it again and find that now it works or not. So I have powered it on, and now I will power it on from the standby. Yes, still beeps, but yes, now it is with the display. That's a good thing. Hopefully it will detect its car. Now maybe I need to install the driver for this card. After that the graphics will be fine. Let's check for it that either it can load the driver automatically or not. Maybe not, because it is 10 GB card and I have not loaded driver for such a card. Yes, and maybe whenever I will load the driver in this window, then it will show a splash screen of GeForce RTX. So let's try to install the driver, and let me check you again for the whole display. Thank you very much.